My father was a anti-Castro organizer. He was a labor organizer in Cuba at a time when a lot of folks were actually supportive of Castro. My father was not. He was sent to prison. He was sentenced to the firing squad and basically told my mother to pick up and go with my two older brothers who were 6 and 8 at the time. Yet they made a promise that if they ever saw each other again, they would have another child, and that's me. A year and a half so later. And just his story of how he left Cuba, was able to get out when the judiciary still had some resemblance of significance and court orders were actually respected, and his travels, his journey to make it back to my mom, who by that time was here in Miami. It's just a fascinating story. But again, their story is so reflective, Fred, of hundreds of thousands of other families that fled Cuba for the same reason and saw hope, opportunity here in the United States. And it's part of the Miami story. It's helped define the Miami we know today. And following the Cubans, we could talk about Nicaraguans and Haitians and Venezuelans and Colombians, and we could just go on with all the different immigrant groups who have found that opportunity here in Miami and have made this city, this community, what it is today.
So your father came 61 or no? 50?
My father came just at the end of 1960.
Right.
I was born about a year later, fulfilling that promise he made to my mom. Like I said before, my father was a labor organizer. My mother was a teacher. And yet they started in this country in the most menial of jobs. My mother went to work as a maid at a hotel on Miami Beach. My father went to pick tomatoes in the Everglades. And that's how they started. And with the help of family members, they started raising, obviously, my brothers here. And then I came along a year later. And that was their beginning here. Again, very reflective of that Cuban immigrant story that we see over and over again.
It's an amazing story, though. You know, your mom, a teacher, came here, seamstress, right? She worked as you said, a maid in a hotel. Your father was working in
hotels.
Hotels. So what was it? It was the Miami Shores Country Club, right? It was the
one of his first jobs with my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, was as a dishwasher at the Miami Shores Country Club. And one of the stories I used to tell all the time, I remember, their shift would end about 11 o'clock, midnight, and my mom would drive from Hialeah, where we lived, to pick them up in Miami Shores. And I remember I was a child. I was maybe 4, 5, 6 years old, falling asleep in the back of the car. But we'd have to pick up my father, my grandfather, through the back door, the employee entrance and exit, right? And that was a very interesting experience for me, because to think that 20 some odd years later, I didn't enter the Miami Shores Country Club through the back door. I would enter through the front door as the guest speaker to a Chamber of Commerce or some gathering, because at that point I was a county commissioner and later the mayor of the county. So again, that experience, that story is very reflective. I started through the back door and then ended up coming in through the front door. But it was reflective of the opportunity that I was provided thanks to my parents' hard work, sacrifice, and dedication.
So you never felt resentful of that?
Absolutely not. On the contrary, I would openly talk about that, not only when I was in Miami Shores, but throughout the community in order to inspire and motivate young people, some of whom perhaps had also come recently to this country, to work hard, that this was a country and is a country that rewards hard work, rewards honesty, rewards people who follow the rules, and provides them with opportunities to move, whatever that may be. In my case, it was the law, it was politics, now it's real estate and other things I do. But regardless of what your field is, this is a place that is provided with opportunity.